Arguing for extremes can be a fun or even valuable exercise. Choosing to take a position you don't really agree with and fighting for it can develop both your understanding and ability to argue for things you do believe in. Classic debate club stuff. But the horror of YouTube is that it's not a debate club, and you'll run into people you'll think might be doing that, but who make it clear they're not.
I really believe this, and by the end of this video, I think you will too.
So what's this snazzily hatted gentleman talking about that he truly believes in? The hat being yellow and black makes me a bit scared of what's about to come out of his mouth, but maybe he's just gonna argue for world hunger to end. Maybe free pet dogs for everyone.
Children should have the right to vote.
Nah, I don't think so.
And I don't just mean 16 and 17-year-olds.
They shouldn't either though.
I mean that a toddler,
Ironically, I'm starting to feel like I need an adult,
should be able to toddle into a voting centre in a national election, cast a real ballot, and have that vote counted just the same as any other.
How about we compromise? How about we just randomize a few million votes? Or how about every soiled ballot counts as a vote for me? It's gonna be a landslide.
I really believe this, and by the end of this video, I think you will too.
Why? What are you gonna do to me? I didn't know they could do lobotomies through YouTube now.
Greetings, children!
Nah, don't you talk to my kid. Little Timmy, cover your eyes.
And adult oppressors.
Haha, he's kinda kidding, but he's still gonna say the things.
I'm your host, Silly Conversations. In most countries, you need to be 18 years old to vote in national elections, and there are no countries where the voting age is lower than 16.
You think maybe those ages align with something else? Some other concepts about society?
Since this is such a universally accepted rule, we should start by discussing some of the obvious reasons for why children should not be given the right to vote.
Alright, let's hear 'em. I know what I've got in mind. Let's see if you say it.
Number 1, children aren't smart enough to understand political policy and decide which politicians to support.
If that was really reason number 1, who would be allowed to vote? Silly conversation, you're playing silly buggers here.
This is related to number 2, children don't have the emotional maturity for voting, and they'll be easily swayed by propaganda.
Really? I haven't watched any Coco Melon. Do they do Foreigners Out nursery rhymes or something? Those damn toddlers and their tablets blasting CNN and Fox all day. This isn't the problem anyone has. They're gonna be an extra vote for their parents.
Number 3, voting rights for children would cause division within family units, and besides, their family members with voting rights can already represent their interests.
Tweens and teens, of course, famously never fighting with their parents over politics because they can't vote. We're going to see babies abandoned because they chose to wear a MAGA hat.
Number 4, children don't actually want to be able to vote, and this isn't a real issue.
Name one single soul who gives a shit if kids want to vote or not. What are you doing here?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I got my notes mixed up. Those were all actual, real reasons given to justify denying women the right to vote.
Wait a second, maybe he's onto something.
That's right. You've been tricked into agreeing with sexism.
I think something we can all agree on is that if his little bait and switch worked on you, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
But children actually aren't as smart or mature as adults.
Starting to get a bit worried when the dum-dum punching bag character is the guy saying kids aren't mature enough for adult stuff.
So, that's obviously not true for all children and all adults.
I never should have started watching this. I don't care how high Doogie Howser's IQ is. I don't care that he has a job. You still can't fuck him. He still can't vote. Even if you're retarded in comparison.
But even if it is true on average, we still run into a pretty serious threshold problem.
Yeah, and I think that threshold's about 100 yards from any school.
If a pair of identical twins are born 10 minutes either side of midnight on the annual voter registration deadline, then there will be an election where one twin gets to vote and the other doesn't.
I mean, it's true for non-twins and bigger gaps too. You want me to put myself in the shoes of a jealous twin sister? How unfair that would feel. I mean, this rhetoric probably works on kids.
For the younger twin, that means years of working, paying taxes and obeying the law as an adult with no democratic representation, despite being the same biological age as their older sibling who got to vote.
Sure, but aren't there other changes to the system you could propose? If this illustrates what you don't like, there are other ways to address it than fetus suffrage. Even real weirdo niche ones if you want it, some kind of rapid direct democracy. All sorts of stuff, use your imagination.
Okay, but that's a pretty weird edge case. Not really. In a large democracy like the US, hundreds of thousands of 17-year-olds will miss any given voter registration deadline by only a few days or weeks.
Sure, and then of course the thought is, well, if you push the deadline back, then there are going to be people who just missed that deadline, so you push it back and you push it back. This can of course also be applied to other thresholds people reach, but I'm assuming and hoping this guy would recognize the solution there is not to abolish it either.
Besides, intelligence in the population is thought to lie on an approximately normal distribution.
Okay, yep, we're skipping.
In big countries, there would still be millions of 16 and 17-year-olds who are smarter than the average adult.
Look man, doesn't matter. The key here is that they're not adults. Doesn't matter how smart they are. Doesn't matter how mature they are for their age. Every child is entitled to a minimum period of stewardship by society's adults, and of course, in particular, their parents or guardians. Due to this, there is a justified limitation of their agency. If I force you to stay in my house, that's false imprisonment. If someone does the same with their toddler to stop them running free in the streets, that's good parenting. Children, as adults in training, of course, don't have the same duties as adults, and that can be seen as the other side of the coin of the limitation of their rights. When talking specifically about the teens who miss the threshold, there is something to the idea that they become an adult who miss their chance to vote for the government they'll be under while they're shouldering duties for the first time that they didn't before. But like I said before, there are different approaches you could take to that. And the whole reason it's a problem is that they're an adult who's been deprived of that. He brings up the point about shifting the age next. We're skipping that.
If your plan is to prevent dumb and immature people from voting,
that's not the plan. And if it is, it shouldn't be. If you want a less conceptual point than my previous one, something a kid will never have over an adult is literally just life experience. Time being a person alive on Earth. And there is meaning to that. Anyone past the adulthood threshold has had at least that amount of time to gain perspective. A minimum fair shot at understanding what it means to become an adult, to grasp your place in society, during which time your guardians are justified in making choices for you to protect you from the responsibility of having to choose for yourself, and of course from the consequences of said decisions. Someone can fail in their duty to children, but that doesn't mean the way things work is wrong. Obviously this eases off as you near that threshold, but the right to make a choice about how you and those around you will be governed is a huge one. And I personally think it's absurd for someone with justifiably limited agency to have as one of their rights the ability to cast their vote to decide things for everyone. Though perhaps this guy disagrees that children should have limited freedom and agency, in which case we're at an impasse.
An age cutoff incorrectly deprives millions of people of their right to vote, which is fundamentally wrong and undemocratic.
So of course he's still talking about smart young'uns. But how many people even think the right to vote comes from your IQ? More than I thought, I guess. There are people in the comments saying he convinced them. Maybe there's some of those hyper-intelligent babies we've been hearing about.
Also, what do you even mean by maturity?
Bro, please don't do this.
The state, fact, or period of being mature. Oh gee, thanks Google. Cambridge Dictionary, what do you got? The quality of behaving mentally and emotionally like an adult.
Silly, you're not arguing with a real dude. This was your choice of argument to go against. You can pick any definition you want. Though I guess having to Google your sock puppet's vocabulary is kind of a good bit.
Okay, so the logic would be that children can't vote because they're not mature, and being children makes them not mature by definition. Cool.
Does this feel good to you? This isn't even on the level of one of those rich people hunting adventures. You're shooting balloon animals with a shotgun. You picked the argument, and then you picked which definition to use for the words in that argument you already chose to make it as dumb as possible.
This argument that Group X don't have the right emotions to vote properly was super effective when applied against women.
Jesus Christ. And next we need toddlers in the workplace. It's already being worked on, the propaganda's out there. There's going to be a Mad Men remake where Peggy's 2 years old.
Of course, in practice, one of the main reasons that many men didn't support giving women the right to vote was that it just seemed silly. Like, women voting? Women?
Sorry, have you ever seen a toddler in your life? It's not going to become less silly once they're swarming the voting booths.
There wasn't any real logic behind the opposition, so much as historical inertia.
I mean, you can disagree with it, but there was logic. Please don't tell me you're one of these guys who thinks logical just means good think.
Similarly, the main reason that you were probably against giving children the right to vote until 5 minutes ago is just that you've never really thought about it before.
I mean, I'll put my hands up, I'll admit it. I don't spend all that much time sitting around thinking about kids. But I've certainly run into talk of lowering the voting age in the past, and it's especially relevant in the UK now.
And on an emotional, gut instinct, non-rational level, that makes it seem silly. Just like women's rights seemed silly for men in the early 1900s.
To be fair, if he's right and his viewers have never for a single second thought about this before, this is probably pretty damn convincing.
The core assumption of having an age or gender requirement for voting rights is that some people aren't smart or mature enough to vote correctly.
Maybe for some people, not me, brother. It goes off on this whole voting wrong thing. We're going to skip that.
School is often the most intellectually demanding period of our lives. Mathematics, science, history, languages. School is an intense daily brain workout, and when you graduate, that knowledge starts to fade if you're not using it regularly.
How about when you go to vote, you gotta answer 10 general knowledge questions, and you get a ballot per one you get right? I'm getting bored, let's skip to the practical solutions he presents.
But how would child voting actually work in practice? It's not like they can drive to a polling centre. Okay, so number 1, fundamental rights don't need to be convenient to justify their existence. And number 2, have them vote in schools.
I mean, a lot of the time polling stations are in schools, but, oh God, Jesus, no. Obviously, the shaping that occurs in school doesn't disappear from us when we hit adulthood, but the degree of influence while you're there is a little taught, with everyone involved understanding that you're a voter now. I said before it would just be extra votes for parents. This would be a nice stack of extra votes for teachers. Suddenly, across the world, primary school educator wages skyrocket. Politicians pandering by offering free pencils. Systems are always shifted to exploit you, right? You want that on steroids? There's more to his video. Go watch it if you want. I've had enough. It's 30 degrees. It's hot for me. I'm sweaty. I want to turn my aircon on. Thanks for hanging. Take it easy.